of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and tonight from downtown St. Louis, it's game number 2 between the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. And along with Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well. Good pitching matchup. Jason Hamill, the right-hander, going for the Cubs. Michael Walker for the St. Louis Cardinals. Jimmy, it's been an up-and-down season so far for Michael.
Yes, it is. And then one thing we're going to watch tonight is see if he can get his arm angle up and get the ball down. If he's doing that, he's going to be on, and it's going to make it a miserable night for the Chicago Cub hitters. So that is the one thing I'm going to watch tonight.
We weren't sure if he'd be in the lineup at all in this series. He's in there tonight. Our Budweiser What's on Tap. Jason Hayward, the Cubs right fielder, back in St. Louis. First pitch comes your way next. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Well, so far the rain has stayed away. Early start tonight. It'll be a late arriving crowd, and along with Jim Hayes and the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 74 degrees here in St. Louis for Game 2 between the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs feature 3 in the top 8 of walks in the National League. Joe Madden, second-year manager, and Fowler is one of them. It'll be Fowler, Hayward, and Bryant, then Rizzo, Zobrist, Soler, Russell, Ross, and Hamill. The starting 9 against Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha last start gave up 6 runs in just 4 innings against the Rockies on Thursday. Took a no decision. Cardinals came back for a win. Exciting game number 1. Cardinals came back with the Adams pinch hit home run. Grichuk walked it off. And we start game 2 with the ball to Dexter Fowler. What a game, huh? Game 1.
What a game. And good evening, Dan.
Good evening to you, Jimmy. 2 balls, no strikes. Fowler hitting .365 on the road this year. And 4th in the National League in on-base percentage, .435. There's a strike. 2-1. Little bit low. Calling the balls and strikes tonight. Jim Reynolds. CB Buckner is at first. Field and Colbreth, the crew chief, at second. Manny Gonzalez down at third. 3-1 is ripped out to deep right field. Piscotty on the move. Won't get it. Off the base of the wall. Backing up. Center fielder Randall Grichuk. Leadoff double for Dexter Fowler. Welcome back to St. Louis, Jason Hayward.
Not too bad.
First time through, it was as loud as I've ever heard an opposing player booed here at Busch Stadium. They got after it every time he came up. Showing bunt. Takes a ball in. Slow start for Jason. 225. 1 home run. He's driven in 14. Last year on this date, he was hitting .238 for the Cardinals. 4 home runs, had driven in 12. So he got off to a slow start with the Cardinals last year, and historically in his career has been a slow starter.
I was going to say last year at this time we were talking about the same thing. Historically being a slow starter, and wondering if you're a slow starter, how long does it take you to get going? What do you do to stop that from happening year in and year out?
Hayward bounces it to the right side. Colton Wong is there. Then advances Fowler from second to third.
Something we're going to be watching all night. Keep an eye on his arm angle. If he gets that arm up and gets the ball down, he's going to have success. I didn't think that was a bad pitch. Dexter Fowler, he's got some pop. I mean, you said he's one of the better leadoff hitters in the league, and I haven't had a chance to watch him play too much, but he's impressing me.
That's it out of play. Chris Bryant. Good numbers against Wacha. Pair of home runs, a double, a triple, 5 for 13. Infield is drawn in here for the Cardinals. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Michael Wacha. Fastball, the cutter that he features now, curveball, and a changeup. Here's the 0-1. We hear about it all the time with Michael Wacha, Adam Wainwright. downward plane from guys that are 6'5" like Waka, Wainwright, near 6'7". Makes it tough to hit.
It does. It really comes from a high angle, and ball has a straight downward movement.
1-0 Chicago on a base hit, RBI by Chris Bryant.
And that's one of the things I think he's been lacking a little bit this year. And that ball right there didn't have much downward angle on it. And when it's flat, it's a little bit easier to hit. When he's on, that ball really gets from the top of where he releases it down by your feet in a hurry. Good shot right there of the release point, but you can see the ball stayed flat. And the whole idea of pitching is obviously to get the ball to change angles and planes so the hitters can't square it up as easy.
Pitch taken high to Anthony Rizzo, second in RBIs in the National League with 35. One back is Cespedes of New York. And he is 6th in home runs in the National League with 11. Cespedes with 15.
One thing I notice when Michael Wacha is good, he's standing up tall, and we talk about this, and gets on top of the ball and throws it downhill. The thing that when you get in trouble is when you're a guy that's trying to get the ball down, you're trying to force the ball down, so your chest gets out in front of you a little bit, and you're kind of aiming downhill with your body, and then your arm will drag, and the ball will stay flat and get up in the zone.
That's hammered. That pitch was up and drilled by Rizzo.
You watch Yachty. Relax. Keep the ball down. Think about getting everything down. But I truly mean that. When I've watched guys over the years and watching from center field, you can see it. Guys are trying to force the ball down with their body, and it allows their arm to drag and keep the ball flat and stays in the zone too long.
Nobody at third because of the shift. Doesn't matter anyway. Bryant advancing there after the base hit by Rizzo, who came in 2 for his last 30 in the last 8 games with no extra base hits. So 3 hits of the first 4 hitters Wacha has seen. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Cardinals. Holiday, Grichuk, Piscotty in the outfield. Carpenter, Diaz, Wong, and Adams on the infield, and Molina is behind the plate. Last 3 starts coming into play tonight. Michael Wacha, 16 runs in 14 innings, 12 of those earned. Hasn't won a start since April 23rd.
Good idea right there. Throw a curveball first pitch. Try to get somebody, try to get something different in their mind other than it's just that fastball changeup. Even if he doesn't swing at it, you still now, as a hitter, think about it and have to respect it, that it's there.
Hottest player in this lineup is at the plate. That's Ben Zobrist. He's reached base safely in each of his last 29 starts and riding a 10-game hit streak into play tonight. Has Wacha gotten away from his changeup, in your opinion?
I don't know if he's gotten away from his changeup, but going back to those 2 pitches right there, those first 2 pitches right there to Zobrist, probably a better arm angle than the first 15 pitches he's thrown all night. And so hopefully he's making the adjustment right here and kind of feel your way through what's wrong. But I think that the changeup obviously works off the fastball, and he hasn't been throwing his fastball the way he likes it. So it's hard to rely on that changeup when your fastball's is not doing what you expect.
Here comes Derek Lilliquist already with a visit. Went with the curveball on 3-0. Didn't get the call. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Like I said last night, I do not know how you can not call a pitch a strike when it's through the zone. I can see him missing if it's a little off the plate, but when that ball comes through the strike zone like that, there's no reason why you should miss it.
Let's turn to Jim Edmonds, Toyota, key to the game.
Well, we've been talking about it already, and I gave it away, but my key for him is keeping the ball down, getting good angle on the pitch, on the fastball. and just getting the ball down in the zone with angle, not just throwing it down there, but get up tall and throw the ball downhill. Keep the ball on the ground.
Here's Soler. In the dirt, blocked by Molina.
Now that's how you make the adjustment, Danny, right there. Downhill, even if you have to spike it.
Good
sometimes
play.
Sometimes that's what it takes, though. Great play by Yachty, obviously, but sometimes you don't have the feel all of a sudden, and you got to throw one down in there to get away from the fear of actually bouncing one.
The Cubs have had 65 plate appearances with the bases loaded this year. Second to the White Sox with 67. And they have done some serious damage. 368 the average. There's a good pitch. 1-2. Had him out in front. Chicago comes into play tonight. They've dropped 6 of 8. And the culprit has been the offense. Only 22 runs in that span. 1-2 pitch. Fastball doesn't get the call. If he comes away in this inning with only 1 run allowed, you say that's a win for the Cardinals.
Whatever Lilly went out there and told him, I think, hit home, because he looks a little different right now. All of a
Fastball's
sudden,
got a little life.
letting it go. His arm looks like it's getting up a little bit more. His chest not out in front of him as much. And so obviously the curveball and the changeup looked a little sharper. The cutter looked sharper. Now I just got to finish off and get a double play here.
The 2-2. Full count. Bryant back in safely down at third. Three-two pitch with the bases loaded. Fouled back. It's another 3-2. Walks in a run. Back-to-back walks. 2-0 Chicago. RBI number 8 for Jorge Soler. And it brings in Addison Russell.
A lot of people probably wondering why he went to the changeup right there. I don't mind that pitch. You can't just keep firing fastballs into big league hitters, especially with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Right now he does not have one pitch he can go to throw a strike. Bases loaded and a 1-0 pitch. Russell hits it to Adams. Force play at the plate. Oh. Watch out.
Actually a heads up play by Yachty right there. Actually Yachty means business, but a little bit quicker right there, and because he's probably cruising into third, throwing that ball to third base like that, he's not paying attention. He almost had to take a trip to the dentist. Woo. Matt Carpenter also. It caught everybody by surprise, but that's what's so amazing by Yachty is he's just ready to go when he knows people aren't paying attention. He's going to take a shot at getting his pitcher out of an inning any way he can get it.
Now David Ross. And that pitch taken low. 30 pitches here in the first inning for Michael Wacha. And the 1-0 to Ross. For Waka, his last 4 starts against the Cubs, he's 0-3. This includes the postseason with an ERA that's close to 9. Trying to get back on track here in 2016 and in this first inning. Already Tyler Lyons is up. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Ross with a fly ball out to center. Grichuk on the move with room, and it's off his glove. 2-run score. 4-0 Chicago. You can just see when he was taking that route, never looked comfortable going back.
I think it caught him by surprise that the ball was hit that hard. As soon as I saw the break on the ball, I thought he wasn't going to catch up to it. David Ross squared that ball up even though it was down in the zone. Hit that ball a long way.
A pitch in the dirt to Hamill. 9th man to come to the dish for Chicago. Little bit surprised they did not score all 3 on that play. 2 outs, should be off and running. Into center field. Grichuk over, won't get it. It goes to the wall. 2-run score. Hamill stops at second base, and it is all Chicago here in game 2.
And you can see here, we talk about this all the time, and it's in the big leagues. You can't throw the ball right down the middle in the big leagues, even to the pitcher. Just a good fastball. You see Randall Grichuk playing the other way, expecting ball to be out over the plate, and hopefully the pitcher a little bit late on it. Surprises everybody, but squaring it up and hitting on the third base side of the bag for a double.
Fowler, line drive, and it's caught by Aledmys Diaz. 5 hits, 6 runs for the Cubs. Chicago after a half inning of play here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. It'll be Carpenter, Diaz, and Holiday, followed by Piscotty, Adams, and Molina. Grichuk, Wong, and Waka.
That was my first bat around in the order on my scorecard this year, and just don't want to move the numbers over. I'm just going to stay with it.
Wait.
Hopefully we can get a do-over.
Really, you got to.
I don't want to mess with it.
You got to take that 2 out, make it a 1, and then go so on and so forth.
Too much work. We're going to start over right here.
What's going through his mind right now?
Well, I'll tell you what's going through his mind. He's trying to figure out what went wrong, and it goes quick. And it's one of those things. He's trying to feel his way through a rough patch. And you talked to Adam Wainwright earlier this year, and same situation. You're out there trying to just feel it through, and it's not something that's just going to pop right into your mind. It's something you got to feel, and it's a tough road when you're struggling. It really is. It's nobody can help you. You're out there by yourself.
Just wonder how tempted Mike Matheny was to going to Lyons as Carpenter yanks it foul. When you saw the back-to-back walks, and I guess in his mind he's thinking, well, I'm going to try to roll the dice with the 8th place hitter in David Ross. That turns into a double off the glove of Grichuk. That ball's caught. It's a different inning. It's 2-0. There's a high fly ball lifted out to right field. Backing up, Jason Hayward. The BJC Healthcare Difference Maker. Career against the Central for the Cubs starter Jason Hamill. 8 starts against the Cardinals, ERA of 5.26. They struggled here at Busch Stadium. Record of 3-3. ERA is near 6. Cardinals did see him in April. Gave up 1 run in 6 innings of work. He's really bounced around. Tampa Bay, Colorado, Baltimore, Oakland, the Cubs twice. He was involved in the Addison Russell deal. As Diaz pops it up, Rizzo giving chase, and it's out of play. Aledmys Diaz batting .345. That's tops on the club, and there's a look at the great start that Hamill had. .75 ERA in April, 2-1 record in May with the ERA near 4. .345 average, 4th best in the National League. And a fly ball that's lifted out to left center. This will be Fowler, who calls off Soler. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Chicago Cubs tonight. Soler, Fowler, Hayward in the outfield. Bryant, Russell, Zobrist, and Rizzo on the infield, and Ross is behind the plate.
2 deep fly balls, the first 2 hitters. I'm liking what I see right now. If I'm Mike Matheny, I think the guys are knowing how to pick up Michael Wacha, but also some of the guys have hit Jason Hamill well.
Rounded to short. Russell over to Rizzo. And a 1-2-3 for Hamill. 6-0 Chicago. TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's Jason Hayward to lead it off here in inning number 2. First pitch is a strike. Hayward grounded out to second. Had a scary situation in San Francisco, going for a ball in right and banged his head against the base of the wall, but had a rib injury. Initial thought was that he would be left out of this series, but here he is in game 2. He went to Joe Madden last night and said he was available to pinch hit if needed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout for Michael Wacha.
It's a good cutter right there. A little bit better. A nice sharp cutter on the outside part of the plate. Starts off the plate and runs back across. You can see right here. You know you got to go after it. Another thing too is in that cutter, when you see that spin, you don't think it's going to be 90, 91. You're thinking 88, 86. You can kind of go through it and just kind of foul it off and push it over towards third base a little bit when you're left-handed. And ball just jumped on him and just threw it right by him.
That's hammered out to left field. Holiday won't get there. Drops in front for a 1-out base hit, and Bryant is 2 for 2. So Michael Wacha, Jimmy's trying to get on top, but sometimes you see that chest get out in front. Would that cause the arm to drag a little bit?
Just makes your arm drag a little bit, and what he's doing is he's thinking about trying to get the ball down. Sometimes you're trying to force the ball down with your body instead of standing up and throwing the ball down with your arm. A lot of guys that throw a lot of strikes, they move the ball around a lot, will get caught into that kind of pattern where they just know they have to get the ball down.
Diaz, a remarkable play by Diaz, and from his knees, it's a double play. Wow, wow, wow. As fine a play that he's had defensively in the big leagues. Diaz, the remarkable catch, and it turns into 2. 6-0 Chicago. There was a quick look at Randall Grichuk, and now a quick look at Jim Hayes. Jimmy, he was the hero last night.
Yeah, and he told me the only downside to his walk-off homer last night was that he wasn't quite sure what to do with himself as he was rounding third base and heading toward the mob of his teammates waiting for him at home plate. That's because he had never hit a walk-off homer before, not in the majors, not in the minors, not in high school. He said he doesn't even remember getting any sort of walk-off hit, maybe back in Little League. As for his homer last night, Randall said he didn't rush home to watch his handiwork on the highlight shows, but he did see it accidentally twice. Dan Grichuk told me he was flipping around while talking to his parents on the phone, and he accidentally saw it twice.
Jimmy, let me ask you this, not Jim Edmonds. I'll ask you, Jim Hayes. You have you're all over this, the pulse of this team. Do you actually buy that story?
Yeah, because he did have enough detail. He said he was talking first to his parents on the phone and then to an old teammate of his, and so he was just watching television casually while engaged in conversation. Dan, this one I'm buying. I'm buying it.
Yes, Mr. Edmonds.
Just watching Sports Center while you're talking to your parents.
Right. And then I went over to MLB Network, and then I watched FS1, and then I went and got my iPad.
MLB app is amazing.
It is.
In the morning.
I'm not
All
buying
kidding
it.
aside, if that was me, I'm watching it. I'm looking for it.
Over and over
And you know
over.
what? When you hit a home run like that, it's all over everywhere. It is on every channel that has anything to do with baseball.
There was another guy that had a big home run last night, Matt Adams. He now has 6 pinch hit home runs in his Cardinals career. And he lines that into left center field, into the gap, and again showing power the other way. Is the professor texting you some info?
Just like you said, though, they're playing him with the shift on, and he's been doing a great job all year long of driving the ball in the gap the other way. He's not a dead pull hitter. I'm not playing the shift if I'm the opposite manager or opposite team, because Matt Adams is hitting the ball from line to line.
The professor, by the way, is our very own Tim Trokey, and he says Cardinals allowing 6 first-inning runs against the Cubs for the first time since 1994. This Cubs outfield, they play deep. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
I was going to say that earlier when there was a fly ball in the left center field when Fowler called off Soler, and they were looking at each other, and they were 2 steps from the track.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Inside. Hamill has allowed 3 home runs this year. 2 of those coming in his last start. He was handed his first loss of the season last Thursday at Milwaukee. Allowed a season high 4 runs on 5 hits in 6 innings.
And check out this angle right here we're working on. Let me see if you see anything interesting. See the break on maybe a curveball or a slider, or how quickly the fastball gets on you. That looks pretty quick, and it's really not a great angle, and that's only 92 miles an hour.
Only 92.
Only 92. How long is it going to be before we have the catcher cam or umpire cam? Or it's so hard to put this game in perspective.
3-2 pitch to Molina. And a foul ball.
The thing I'm watching there, if I'm watching this game from that angle, what I see right there is it looks like basically he's throwing from behind the right-handed hitter. So to be able to keep your shoulder in and try to drive a ball that you have no idea where it's going to end up the other way, because that's what you're taught, is staying through the ball and driving the other way from a righty.
This angle here, if we use it tomorrow at times with Arrieta, you'll really see how Jake Arrieta throws across his body and actually is stepping at right-handed hitters. It's a very unusual motion, but let's face it, it works.
The thing with that too is it makes the cutter that more effective, the slider that much more effective, and then all of a sudden here comes 94 with a sink, and it just dives underneath your hand. So that's why we're talking about being able to see the speed of the game. You have to pick something out of that to hit.
Good at bat, so a double. Now the walk, and here's Randal Grichuk. The first walk issued by Hamill. Well, Jimmy, we talked about it last night. If Grichuk could use the entire field, specifically opposite way, going to right with his power, he could put up tremendous numbers. The power is there. Sometimes he'll pull off pitches. And a breaking ball is taken high and inside. Against Hamill, 3 for 8, triple and a home run. The 1-0. I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're Randal Grichuk, you're so conscious about being jammed inside that you're not able to take that ball to right sometimes.
Well, if you think in, then you speed yourself up, and that's been really the thing for him, is that's when you stop recognizing the slider, you try to be too quick, and then you get away from your strength, which is driving the ball in the gap the other way. I think last night, I'm hoping last night reminded him of how easy it is for him to just wait, stay back, and hit the ball in the barrel with his power. You get home runs, and especially going the other way here last night. I mean, this is as tough as a ballpark in the big leagues to hit the ball out the other way, and I don't even think he got that ball last night, and it was plenty into the bullpen.
1-2 pitch, double play ball. Bryant steps on the bag and throws a strike to first. Both teams have turned a double play in this ball game. We hope to visit with 2006 World Series MVP David Eckstein coming up. 2006, David Eckstein, 3 years with the Cardinals, couple of World Series titles, one with St. Louis, the other with Anaheim, two-time All-Star, hit by a pitch 143 times. You don't like to see that on that graphic, do you?
Got some bruises from that, but that's fine.
Well, it's great to see you. Welcome back to St. Louis.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
Here is Ben Zobrist. Is it hard to believe 10 years since the 06 championship?
It's been amazing. It's flown by. It seems like just yesterday we were out here playing, and all of a sudden, like you said, it's 10-year reunion.
I love saying David Eckstein, World Series MVP. When people say that, is it resonated with you over the years?
Over the years, once I stopped playing, it definitely resonates a little bit more. But because if anybody watched us play, there was many guys they could have given that award to, and it's all about actually winning the World Series. So having the opportunity to win the World Series, much more important than the MVP.
As crazy as it sounds, does it change your life a little bit?
It does. It does. Everywhere you go now, that's how they kind of introduce you. So it does change your life.
And Dad, you told me as there's a line out to Aledmys Diaz, he is healthy and celebrating a birthday.
He celebrated a birthday. He's 71 today, and so missing his birthday, but I've already called him and talked to him, and I saw him yesterday, and I'll see him tomorrow.
One of the things that I think we forget about the 06 team, and so many people point to, well, it was only 83 wins.
Yes.
But you were hurt. Jimmy was hurt. You know, the team finally got healthy, and that was the difference in that postseason run.
It was. That was one of the things going into that playoff. Probably the previous 2 months, Jimmy, we were banged up, and we were finally getting healthy right at the right time, and that definitely showed a different club than what we had played previous.
How about this guy, Jimmy? What kind of teammate was it?
Great. It was great. It was entertaining too to watch his pregame routine.
Jumping all over the place.
Jumping all over the place. He was getting the best first couple steps out of the hole every time. Yeah. Tearing up the grass.
I know Billy hates me here, but that's okay. But
still looking to see if there's a big hole down there where he used to jump around.
Definitely, but you know, Jimmy was one of those guys that kind of took me underneath his wing. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had, and it was kind of nice to be able to play with him. But if anybody knows, his heart is bigger than actually how he even played center field, and was thank you. And still to this day, I mean, my wife is so jealous.
Oh, I love the fact that your wife loves me.
Yeah, my wife, Jimmy, is her favorite player.
Let's keep it cordial up here, will you? I mean, we're doing baseball here, fellas. Here's a 3-2 pitch. And it just missed to Soler. One of our favorite moments is this play right here. Tell me what you remember about this.
Yeah, that was against the Braves. I was going up against Chris Rietsma, and bases were loaded. I think we were down by 2. And I never swung until I got a strike. I played with him in the minor leagues. And it was one of the things. It was the first pitch ball, and the next time I swung at a 1-0 pitch. And I even saw Chris afterwards. He's like, you never swing. But it was one of those things that I felt good. I think Albert had some premonition. So, yeah, it was one of my pretty cool moment.
Well, in that moment, and we later found out with Albert, we asked him, what were you doing with J-Rod's bat? And he said, you're not going to need this. He threw it down. He said that was it. Right. That was it.
Yeah, I heard about that afterwards, and I saw the replay as well. That was nice of him.
There's a fly ball that's hit down the right field line and out of play.
Eck used to mess around in batting practice, and like towards the end, he would give the little fake bunt and then pull it back and slash, and almost every time he'd hit a home run. So Albert said, if I could do that like you do it, I'd do it every time I walk to the plate. And that's how that kind of evolved. It was like, you're gonna have to start swinging the bat like that once in a while and get some people off your back, and I think that's how that happened.
Yeah.
On the inside corner, strikeout of Russell. You had numerous stops along the way in your career. What did this place mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it meant everything. Coming here, especially at a time with my family, that was when my dad was going through the kidney transplant, and the whole fan base like kind of took me and my family underneath their wings. It's meant so much to me. My wife's family all lives here now.
Do they really?
Yes. Job reasons they came in. They did not live here when I was playing, but they've moved in there. I mean, they love the city, they love the community, and it's definitely a real nice place in my heart for all these fans here.
You started out 0 for 11 in the World Series, and you finished 8 for 22. What clicked for you?
To be honest, if you watch, kind of the ball found some holes. I don't know.
He threw some slip and slide stuff out there.
Yeah, center fielder fell down. I mean, a ball that kind of almost hit third base bag. It was one of those things that, I mean, this game is so crazy. It's so crazy. That's why you just play. You never know. I hit some balls hard in game 2 off of Kenny Rogers, but there was no luck. And so it's one of the things you just show up every day to play, and found some holes.
You're 5'7".
Yes.
How many people have come to you over the years and said, well, you were never going to make it in the big leagues, and you made it a great career?
You know, especially back then, it was one of those things you're trying to, and I did not look the smoothest on the field either. The way I threw the ball, the way I did a lot of things out there. So, definitely, it's one of those things, though. This is a great game. If you truly believe in yourself and believe that you can go out there and do it and find something that you can do that can help a club win, you'll find yourself on the baseball field.
Jimmy, what was it like playing with him? Because for us and from the fans' perspective, I mean, people loved you. You were the guy that could get it done at 5'7", and you were a heck of a player, played at an elite level. What was it like for you, Jimmy?
Same thing. His teammates loved him too because he did everything he could to win. You could see, like I was talking about, he would slash and hit a homer. He would bunt. He would take a hit by pitch. He would go in the hole and come up throwing, dive, slide, head first, whatever it took. He did it. Whatever it took in the dugout or in the clubhouse, whatever it took, he did it. And you know what? You don't see that every day because people do a lot, but they don't do enough. And he did enough because he did everything.
On the 3-2, it's a fly ball hit down the right field line. Piscotty over, runs out of room. I saw you throw to Adam Wainwright, but also after that, you had a little chat there with David Ross. A lot of former teammates.
Yeah, and Joe Madden. Joe Madden was with us when we were in Anaheim, and so having to catch up with him. But then David Ross. David Ross and I kind of grew up once he got through college because he went to Florida after I had left. My brother was their coach, and so we developed this relationship. He would come in the offseason and hit with us, and so still seeing him play. But I think he's kind of the same thing. Taking that mentorship onto this club, and it's a good friend, but and I know in that dugout they love him for what he does, not even on behind the plate, but what he does within the team.
And I wish they would have kept that rolling because you threw a strike.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, how awkward is that trying to give Adam Wainwright a hug?
Oh my gosh! And then they want to take a photo. And I'm like, you're not going to get both of us in it. I should have just
jumped on his back.
I should have. He had me sign so many things today for him, so yeah, I probably should have.
A walk to David Ross, and here's Hamill, who doubled. That pitch is taken high. So
here we go,
it is.
David.
All right, let's take a photo.
It doesn't look so bad right there.
Oh my gosh, I can see the top of my head how bald I'm actually am.
so can he too, by the
way. I need to just cut it off.
You look good, man. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
4 walks issued by Waka. Here's a 1-0 pitch. And you think about Adam Wainwright in 06.
Yeah.
You guys don't win the World Series without him.
Not whatsoever. The way they actually used him that year, kind of like holding him back, not pitching back-to-back days, and just saving him to that final run. Who knew that Izzy was going to get hurt, and he was able to step right in with a fresh arm and, dominated that postseason for us.
I've talked to Jimmy about this. I'm curious your thoughts, how Yachty guided that team in the playoffs.
And when you're talking about a World Series MVP, I mean, what Yachty did throughout that whole playoffs, but especially what he did during the World Series, both offensively and defensively, but he guided that staff that no one really knew and got them to throw the pitches they needed to throw, and we were able to come out with a victory. I mean, he was so big for us that whole postseason.
The bright yellow Corvette, where is it? The MVP award.
It's actually black. I gave it to my brother, but he did not take it with university. He didn't take it with him to college. So, but it is in my garage right now, sitting there. Hasn't been driven in months.
You got a black one.
Black one.
But it was yellow that night.
It was yellow that play.
I thought you were going to say you painted it.
Will you stay with us for another half minute?
Yeah, no problem.
Great. David Eckstein is with us, World Series MVP. Is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals, and by National Car Rental. Go National, go like a pro. 2006 World Series MVP, one of our favorites, David Eckstein, with us here in the booth. Jim Edmonds, Dan McLaughlin with you. Colton Wong will lead it off, and I wanted to ask you about your post-playing days. What's happening now with David Eckstein?
Yeah. Right now, I mean, my wife started a company, so I'm helping her do that. It's heruniverse.com. That's what we do. So she's keeping me busy. She's still doing some cartoons. But I whenever I'm in Florida, I'm at the baseball field. I like to volunteer at my local high school and help out with that club. And then in the summer times, for the past 3 years, I've been part of the USA 18 and Under Club.
Let's give that another plug. What your wife is up to?
My wife is
Her Universe.
Her Universe.
Okay, good.
I got that one.
You got that one. Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, we sell female sci-fi apparel for Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel.
Really?
So we have all that. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
The best thing is she's her own model.
Yeah, she.
Right.
Yeah,
I text all the time. I'm
Right.
like, oh, your wife looks great today in that Spider-Man
Keep the
costume.
expenses down.
but like, I mean, my wife. Amazing. Her idea. She's so creative. I'm not. She decided to like do a fashion show at Comic-Con and bring Geek Couture to San Diego. And we've done it for the past 2 years. The two winners got to make a collection for Hot Topic and sell it. This year we got picked up to be a television show. So she's filming a television show as well.
That's great. Into right center, the catch made by Jason Hayward. How about wanting to get involved potentially maybe in Major League Baseball or at least in Pro Ball at some level? Yeah,
definitely. At some point in time, you know, with my wife's company right now, I'm helping her do that. But I'm actually kind of going to wait for my brother. Well, at some point in time, if he makes it, if he decides to make the transition back to the Major Leagues, which almost happened this past year, or gets a college head job, you know what I mean? That's something then I would go and kind of be with him.
And he's at Kentucky right now?
He's at University of Kentucky right now. They're playing right now, so.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Be like the dynamic duos. Your wife's already got you ready to go with a superhero costume, and you and your brother.
There you go. I know. we could. She could outfit us.
How's Rick doing?
He's doing well. He's doing well. He's enjoying it, and so. But we'll see.
How many more times are the 06 guys getting back together? Because you're at the head of the class because they want to see the MVP back here. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be back here quite a bit this year. I'm going to be coming back I think on the Christian Day on August 7th, and then I think they're having another bobblehead. I got in trouble. My dad calls me and he goes, "Oh, there's a bobblehead of you tomorrow night." I go, "No, there's not." And they go, "Yes, there is." And I go, "No, there's not." And so we just hang up, and then find out there actually was one tonight. It was the mini one. So yeah, so I'll be back a couple times
for the big one. They're gonna have a big bobblehead.
I guess so. Yes. What is?
I think that in the reunion, the situation with the whole weekend and big weekend, you got to be here for that, obviously.
Yeah, I'll be here on that. Was that July 15th and 16th?
I know where I'll be sitting. I'll be sitting right here.
He's doing tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll be sitting right here on that weekend.
Yeah, July 15th and 16th. I think that's that weekend. And so yeah, so be coming back quite a bit this summer.
Do you keep in touch with some of the 06 guys?
Whenever I run past Jimmy when I come back here, I mean, I talked to Roland one time last year. Who else? You know, just because of my time.
One time he said he talked to Roland. That's about as much as we talked to him during the course of the year.
He doesn't want to talk to anybody.
That is a lot for me. You know what I mean? Because of playing for Anaheim, I see Albert every once in a while back there. So like guys like that, I'm trying to think of.
What about La Russa?
Oh yeah. I actually got to spend 4 days with Tony this spring training.
Oh, is that
right?
So
I kind of shadowed him. Watching what he does and everything like that. So yeah, I get to see Tony a little bit.
That had to be intense.
It was fun.
He was just here.
He was, yeah.
He could barely make it up here for a whole inning. He was losing his mind because they weren't scoring. They weren't doing the little things. It was pretty intense.
I mean, and that's what it was. You know what I mean? I got to be there and hear him talk to his club as well, and just follow him around for 4 days and hear that, especially early in spring training. And so that was, kind of getting to his mind, because you're always trying to learn in this game, and he's one of the best, and so just trying to pick up things and try to become better.
2-2 the count here on Matt Carpenter. You follow the Cardinals still a little bit?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I every morning I jump on MLB.com and check out all the guys and see what is happening.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Thanks for coming up.
We'll see you for Christian Day. We'll see you for the reunion, too.
For the reunion as well. Yes, definitely.
You got it. That's David Eckstein, the 2006 World Series MVP for the St. Louis Cardinals. There's that yellow Corvette. I knew it was there. sitting in David's garage now. Cardinals get 9 hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. And stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kreme locations, or the locations in Bloomington or Springfield, Illinois, for this sensational deal. So Michael Wacha pitching into the 4th. Cardinals trailing 6-0. Great to visit with David Eckstein.
Yes, it is. Speaking of Krispy Kreme, there were a bunch of them laying around up here today.
Did you have a couple?
No, but I think my son did. There's not a dozen anymore. There's 10 left.
Oh, I think it's under 10. He was bouncing off the walls a few minutes ago.
They running around like Eckstein.
Exactly. It's cliche when we say it. Say, well, that player got the most out of his ability. Well, not with David Eckstein. He got the most out of everything he had. But I think sometimes when we say that, it overshadows the fact that he was a darn good player. He was a really good player.
He was. And people just were in amazement watching him play and thinking he wasn't going to get the job done, and he got it done over and over and over.
Remember, Orlando Cabrera went to the Angels after being with Boston. Boston picked up Edgar Renteria. So the Cardinals are without a shortstop, and they go out and get David Eckstein. And many thought, well, that's going to hurt this club. And Renteria really was never the same player. He had a great career, don't get me wrong, but his best years were in St. Louis.
Well,
and Eckstein was very good for 3 years here.
Yeah, and they were both great. And, you know, Edgar, for good reason, the player he was here in St. Louis is because he was so comfortable. And sometimes, you know, you take that little bit more money, kind of get outside your comfort zone, you can see what happens. You see when guys take some money, and it has nothing to do with the money most of the time. It has everything to do with the comfort zone and going to a new place to play, new rules, new ballpark, new travel, new everything. And there's quite a bit of that going around still today. And luckily we got David, and came in and gave us a World Series championship.
There's Jason Hayward. That ties into maybe what Hayward is going through right now. Now, again, he's traditionally a slow starter, but signs a huge contract, high expectations. That could be very difficult on a player.
Well, and I think it's tough to play there, or get used to playing there.
By the way, Landon Edmonds food update.
Oh boy, don't get a look at this.
He just came walking in with a huge dish of nachos.
This is dinner for him.
And a enormous bag of popcorn on top of the 4 or 5 Krispy Kremes that are already in his system.
And my credit card.
And your credit card.
Come here. Give the people what they want. Show it. Don't tell Mom.
The 2-2 is bounced to Adams off his glove, and Hayward is aboard. Still, many of these seats are still available. Community Coffee is teaming up with the Cardinals to bring fans $7 tickets. The Cardinals host the Astros June 14th and 15th, and this offer is only available while supplies last. Get yours today, cardinals.com/coffee. So again, that's the Astros June 14th and 15th, and see them in St. Louis, those 2 games, for $7. That's an error on Adams, his 3rd, and it brings in Chris Bryant. Bryant is 2 for 2, a couple of singles to left. That's what you do, though, Jim Edmonds, when you come to the ballpark. Peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jack, ice cream. If you're lucky enough to be in the booth, donuts.
That's what I mean. When you go to a game, that's what you're supposed to do. I went to the hockey game last week, and we walked in there. I said, I feel like getting a hot dog and a beer. So I just don't think you're supposed to do it every time you come up here.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. I want to see you turning into the Grinch. Landon, you stick with me, buddy. We'll hide it from Dad. He also brought me bubble gum today, so I'm happy about that.
And I told you that he brought that bubble gum from home. I didn't tell you that he went back into the house out of the car and said, I forgot to bring bubble gum for Dan, and ran back in the house and came back in the car, and we took off.
Nice work. Well, he had the ice cream going last night, and I said, where's mine? And he said, I'm bringing bubble gum today. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Curveball drops in. That's it out of play. I think it's always interesting, the unwritten rules of baseball, if you will. Jason Hayward, as we know, good speed, 5 stolen bases this year. We are only in the 4th. At what point would the Cardinals be upset if Jason Hayward goes out and tries to steal a base? I don't think this would be the time, but maybe later in the game or a bigger lead.
Definitely not right here. I mean, you don't want to see it as a player, but you can definitely understand it right here. There's never enough. There he goes.
And a strikeout of Bryant. And a stolen base for Hayward, number 6.
I mean, the 4th inning, 6-run lead with this offense St. Louis Cardinals have. You might want to get a few extra. And I'm still calling that they're not done for the night. See, Jason gets a good jump and just doing his job. And I'm sure he's not going on his own. I'm sure they're telling him to go. They want him to run. There's signs for we'd like you to run and you must run. There's a big difference. So I'm sure they're pushing on him to run. I know a lot of players don't like to run in that situation. They don't want to be the guy getting yelled at because of that.
Rizzo hit into a double play. Also signaled to left, and that play by Diaz, if you missed it earlier, over the shoulder catch. An incredible play. Another changeup.
Good changeup. He's having little flashes, making some good pitches. Big difference from the 1st inning. Been able to hit his spots. Changeup looks better.
0-2 pitch. tapped foul. Starting to get a little warmer here in the Midwest. Muggy night here at the ballpark. 0-2 the count on Anthony Rizzo. Little bouncer to Adams, backs up, flips to Walker. Cubs have left 4 on, but they have a 6-run lead. Nine pinch hit home runs. There are 15 teams currently in Major League Baseball without a pinch hit home run. More on that. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, it was a huge part of last night's game, perhaps tonight as well, Dan. Cardinal pinch hitters have been putting on a show this season. Brandon Moss told me he's never seen anything like it. He said when he was in Oakland, they had a bunch of platoon players who were pretty good when called upon to pinch hit, but nothing like this. Mike Matheny obviously loves it, especially because it's not just one guy that's coming up big. Adams, Moss, Hazelbaker have combined for 7 pinch hit homers. Matheny told me we don't need to string 5 or 6 hits together to make a comeback, and that gives the team a lot of confidence in the late innings.
Well, Adams himself with 6 in his career. The most ever for a Cardinal was George Crowe. Played in the late 50s, early 1960s with the Cardinals. He played in the Negro Leagues and then played here in St. Louis. Actually played basketball with Jackie Robinson, did George Crowe.
You think if these guys were playing in Oakland, the ball carries there now, the damage they would be doing. Because I've seen a few fly balls that have been just short here at home.
And yet the Cardinals are second in home runs, just trailing the New York Mets. Mets are first, Cardinals 2 back of the Mets. Holiday is 3 for his last 32, trying to get on track.
And I think wasn't in one of our very first spring training games, the topic was brought up as where is the offense going to come from?
Oh yeah. And I think it was a logical question after what we saw from a year ago. You put this year's offense with last year's pitching, the Cardinals might have won 110 games.
I still look back at last year and think how remarkable of a job that they did playing with all those injuries. Actually, it's been 2 years now, right? 2 years of injuries,
Yeah.
but last year, obviously, the record, but that they won so many games. But just thinking about how to go about your business when guy after guy keeps going down with injury.
0-2 pitch. Holiday hits it out to center. Fowler going back and makes the catch. Well, Jimmy, now you've had a chance to watch Jason Hamill tonight. There's a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal, the fastball, slider, curve, and change. Seems like a lot of these hitters are out in front.
He's been mixing the ball up, fastball in and out, a lot of sliders, a couple curveballs, keeping everyone off balance. That's the goal when you're out there on the mound.
You know, everybody says day by day, pitch by pitch, inning by inning, but tomorrow it's Jake Arrieta. And on one of the great runs in the history of baseball and what he's been able to put together, and he'll get the start in game number 3. It's a day game tomorrow. Have it for you on television. Still some seats available. Jackie Bradley Jr. double off the Green Monster tonight. Extends his hitting streak to 28. And he's only halfway to Joe D. Think about that. 56 games. Two balls and 2 strikes on Stephen Piscotty. Out in front. Changing speeds. Strikeout number 3 for Hamill. The longest, by the way, thank you, Scott. This is Ben Zobrist. As he lines it into right field. Piscotty can't get there. That's to the wall. And that is now 30 consecutive starts in which Zobrist has reached base to go along with a walk tonight. Dom DiMaggio, the longest in Red Sox history, at 34. Chevy Fox tracks.
You just see another fastball that stayed flat right in the middle of the zone. Give the Cubs credit. They're swinging the bat really well tonight, but they're getting some pitches to hit, unlike what we're used to seeing from Michael Wacha.
I would venture to say, and you talked about it, start of the telecast, these pitches have been up. Majority of those that have been hit well. Up and in to Jorge Soler, who has walked twice. I think of concern too with the 4 walks.
He's just not sharp. I mean, it's really hard to be sharp when you go out there every time to be sharp, and it's something you got to battle through. I mean, we watched Adam Wainwright start, what, 4, 5, 6 starts, what just didn't feel great.
Out to center. Grichuk back at the wall, and it's gone. Jorge Soler. Michael Wacha had never allowed more than 6 runs in a game. Tonight it's 8. Chevy called to the pen. Wacha's night is through. It's all Chicago here in game 2. Soler, he knew it. 2-run shot, his 4th of the year. Day, along with Fred Bird, they were at St. Louis Children's Hospital delivering bears and putting smiles on the faces of kids that are dealing with cancer, very sick babies. Part of the initiative Umps Care Charities, nonprofit organization founded by MLB umpires to enrich the lives of at-risk youth. That program began in 2006. There's a line drive out to left, and Holiday can't come up with it. And Russell is aboard. It is amazing that you walk in with a Cardinals jersey or you walk in with a bear, and those kids do light up. It's something to break the monotony of their days.
Well, I think that's pretty impressive, the umpires. I mean,
yeah.
The umpires are from all over the country, and here they are in St. Louis on a random day visiting hospitals, and Nobody really knows who they are. They're the unsung heroes of this game. You know, and if you did your job really well that night, no one should know your name or see your face. And they do a good job, and we've starting to notice that they're right the majority of the time when you see the replay. So hats off to those guys for visiting the hospitals and bringing the bears and bringing some smiles to some kids' faces.
Here's David Ross, 39 years young, a catcher that has caught a ton in the major leagues. Came up with LA. They originally selected him, as David Eckstein talked about. Those two knew each other from their days at Florida. He actually started at Auburn, went to the College World Series, transferred to Florida, and went to the College World Series. He's been with the Dodgers, Pittsburgh, San Diego, Cincinnati, the Red Sox, the Braves, and now the Chicago Cubs.
He's done a good job wherever he goes. And if you pay attention and you're watching TV when he's in town, they talk about him being one of those guys they look to help out with the pitching staff and lead their team. They've been saying that for years. It's nice to know that people appreciate when you're on their team, and he's definitely been appreciated over the years.
Teammates actually bought him a cart so he could get around spring training, with the license plate of Grandpa on the back. Three and two the count. Runner at first. Adams playing behind the runner, and this is one of those spots that we talked about earlier. 6-0, yeah, you can run. 8-0, probably not. As Ross hits it down the right field line, and it's out of play. I wonder if this is the type of game, too, that with the day game tomorrow, some of the regulars come out. And namely, I'm talking about the guy behind the plate. He has played a ton this year. He leads all catchers in innings caught.
Be interesting to see if Mike already has a scheduled day off for him tomorrow, or for some of these guys, and that'll make or break who comes out of the game.
Double play ball. Nope. As Diaz thought about going to Adams, who, remember, was playing behind the runners, so it took him a little bit to get back to the bag. Well, Lyons in this spot, which is long relief, has been very, very good. Fastball, slider, changeup. That breaking pitch is very good.
One thing I see with him is a crossfire with good sink. And then when he comes into a righty, it's really coming in. He can stop that ball from sinking back over the plate and really dive in underneath the hands of a right-handed hitter. Keep you honest in a second.
Jason Hamill doubled in 2 runs back in the 6-run first. And right now, of concern for John Mozeliak and Derek Lilliquist, Mike Matheny, it's Michael Wacha, who has not been sharp last handful of times in his starts. Two and two the count. And Hamill is swinging a miss. Hit a home run with the Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark and the St. Louis Union Station Hotel. Choose from one of our Cardinals baseball packages and score for your team. Go to HiltonSt.Louis.com or call 314-421-1776. 2 balls and no strikes on the switch hitting Dexter Fowler. Into center field and a base hit. And Fowler is 2 for 4.
Take advantage of a fastball down the middle, knowing that they don't want to walk him. Kind of questionable 3-0 swing right there, but manager's okay with it. Let it fly.
If the Cubs would hold on, and it looks like they would win this game up by 8 runs, be their quickest they've reached 30 wins since 1918.
Was that Al's rookie year?
Ooh. Al, if you're watching and listening, which I know you are, that was Jim Edmonds.
And we miss you. Just making sure you're still listening.
I'm the one that has to work with him. And you get to take the time off, and then Al sits in there and says, I heard you guys talking about me.
You got to get him off the couch sometimes. Get him riled up.
Fire him up.
Fire him up. We've been missing him. Hasn't been around lately. Can be coming back to work soon, hopefully.
Here's a 3-0 pitch. And the bases will be loaded. Cubs have received 5 walks tonight. Any way you want to look at this game, it's been ugly from the Cardinals' perspective. There's Chris Bryant, 2 for 3. Take a look at this swing. I want you to kind of break it down. It's in. We mentioned this last night, game 1. The uppercut that he swings with. And it's almost like he gets on his front foot, and then you just see him lift the ball in the air.
Like a left-hander, like you said.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that when I was a young player that I hit so many top spin lobs is why I had to learn how to hit without a stride, because I went too far forward. And something that he does really well is he gets out there, but his body doesn't go so far forward that he gets the top spin every time he pulls the ball. It's when you want to stay behind the ball and drive it. Because if you start to leak towards the pitcher, when you come up through the ball, you're hitting the top half of the ball, and then it creates that downward spin, keep you from driving the ball in the seats. And he doesn't have that problem. So even though he's coming forward, he's keeping his weight back at contact. It's short for a big guy. He's got a short swing, doesn't have a big finish, not a big follow through.
His dad taught him to hit this way. Said that Ted Williams was his favorite player, and so they would study Ted Williams.
I just like what he does for a big guy. I think is being strong like that. He doesn't have to have a lot of movement to generate some power to get moving. And you can see he's really short, very compact, but because he's so strong and tall, generates a lot of bat speed with which creates a lot of power. You don't really see that kind of a swing out of a big guy that often.
2-2, a hit out of play.
You can see right there, he doesn't have a lot of movement, just a little tiny stride. Just really throws his hands at the ball. You stay behind the ball when you're making that swing, create all kind of power.
Two pitch.
Thing you see when you see like a young player, or even when you see your own children at home when they get old enough to understand the game, if you see a swing like that, you have something to work with. When you see a person or a kid that has a big long swing, a leg kick, trying to generate so much power, and he's flying all over the place, the first thing you need to do is to slow him down. So when you have this to work with, you can teach what to swing at, when to swing, how you're approaching your mental thought. Very hard to teach this kind of a swing.
Fly ball near the corner, and the catch made by Stephen Piscotty. 8-0 Cubbies. Is brought to you by T-Mobile. Albert Pujols is tied with Rafael Palmeiro, 12th all-time in home runs. Miguel Cabrera is red hot. Bartolo Colon, 43 years young, and last night 7 innings and gave up a run. Here's Adams. Oldest pitcher to win a game was Jamie Moyer. Did that in 2012. Jamie Moyer pitched for both the Cubs and the Cardinals. Broke in with the Cubs in 1986. He was with the Cardinals in the early 1990s. Moyer finished up with 269 wins.
With Seattle for a while, I believe.
Long time.
Faced him quite a few times, I believe.
Jamie Moyer, 49 years old, was 49 at 150 when he picked up a win April 17th of 2012.
That is awesome.
He came back at that age of 49 after missing the 2 previous years.
So you're saying there's a chance? I got a chance.
Is it still in your belly? You want to do it?
There's a lot in my belly, but I don't know about baseball.
You got that fire still?
I always think it's funny when people see you and they say, oh, you look great, you could still play. Looking great and being able to play are entirely 2 different things.
How's your body now?
It's good. It's really good. I actually am trying to keep my legs strong enough to keep my knees from hurting, and trying to work. I haven't been working out like I want to, but you know, the whole idea is to look good, right? Try to keep up with it.
2-2.
It's either that or looking good as a result of keeping your body in decent enough shape so it doesn't break down and fall apart.
We have golf to play.
That is my hardest thing to deal with right now, other than the kids, and the kids are easy so far.
No shift here against Adams. That pitch taken high. And the second walk issued by Hamill. What are we doing? We're doing a World Series trophy. That's what we're doing. Friday, June 3rd, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive the replica of the 2006 World Series trophy. And those tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. There's Yadier Molina. He walked back in the second, so Adams on base for the second time tonight. And an 8-0 Chicago lead with a 10-hit attack. Pittsburgh leads Arizona 6-0. That's at PNC Park. They're in the 5th inning.
See that swing by Yachty right there? It's an aggressive swing to drive the ball in the right center field gap. Something he's been able to kind of perfect here in the last couple years.
Ground ball hit to short, and they'll get Adams at second base.
I'm still in awe of this rule that we have with the sliding.
You don't like it?
Of course, I don't think anyone likes it except for maybe the second baseman, because he's the one that usually, well, he is actually the one that's going to benefit from him, because he's the one that usually gets hung out to dry. So shortstop can see it coming.
Kia in the driver's seat. The ranks for St. Louis. 3rd fewest ground outs for a double play. Most extra base hits, runs, and slugging percentage. Rizzo is playing behind Yadier Molina at first base. The shift on here for Grichuk. I understand the collision rule at home plate. I don't like that rule either.
I don't like the rule at home plate. I think they could have varied it a little bit, and they could have permitted guys from head hunting, so to speak, and going after the catcher. We've all seen that. Guys will really slide out of their way. That's part of the game too. If you got the bases loaded and you got a ground ball back to the mound and you have to run down, you were taught to run down the line and take the catcher's legs out. Now, granted, you're not sliding completely out of the way and you don't go after him if he's not around the plate, but you have to protect the catcher. So take away basically targeting, where you got to slide hard into the plate, and then you keep the game the way it was. Allow them to block the plate when they need to. And if you're going to block the plate, you're going to get hit. But if you can keep guys from going after players, and they could have kept the guys from going after the infielders, stay around the bag like you're supposed to. Call the game the way it's supposed to be called. You're supposed to be able to slide into second base. You're supposed to be able to touch the base with your hand or your foot, and you can slide through the bag. It just bothers me when I see a guy like Matt Adams run, and he did the right thing. He slid hard into second base, but he was so concerned with popping up off the bag, he kept his hand down there. And I think that worries me more than now you're going to get your runners hurt because they're trying to figure out a new way to slide, but they've been sliding the same way for 30 years since they were little kids. And now all of a sudden they have to stay on the bag running full speed.
One of the most exciting plays in the game is that bang bang play at the plate. And again, I understand the reasoning behind it. You're protecting players. You're protecting the Yadier Molinas and the Buster Posies of the world. But still, boy, it's an exciting play.
It is an exciting play, and there's some old school catchers that had it down to a science. There's a guy like Joe Girardi, for example. He would stand out there, give you all the room in the world to slide, and you'd come in easy to slide, and then he would whip over with his shin guards, put his foot in front of the bag, throw the tag on you, and as soon as you gingerly slid in to just sneak by him, your leg would catch his foot, spin you around, you'd never touch the plate. You're out. I think they should have just come up with a severe penalty if it's ruled that you went out of the way to hurt a catcher. And no one wants to see that. I mean, and there's guys in this league that they think it's really cool to run over the catcher. What? I never had any respect for those guys. It bothered me. You could tell people that played football and thought it was cool to go after somebody once in a while because they had nothing better to do. It really, really irked me as a player, and I don't think there's any part of that in this game. But slide in hard into a base is everything that baseball is all about.
That's pulled foul. One of the worst collisions I saw was two former Cardinals and it was Brian Jordan trucking around third base and just destroying Gary Bennett at the plate. I mean, nasty.
Ray Langford and Darren Dalton.
There's another
show
one.
it every day on the highlights. I think they've taken all those down, but they're intense plays. And go back to Ray Langford and Darren Dalton. Not to cut you off. Do you remember what Ray Langford did when he jumped up?
Got up, pumped his fist in the air.
Heck yeah, because he scored, right? It bothered me a lot last year when I was watching the beginning of the year and watching the swipe tags and giving away. I thought they were giving away runs. Runs were scoring, and the catchers, they couldn't do anything. It was like their hands were tied. Standing out there in front of the plate and just throwing a swipe tag on there like a third baseman. It was bothersome.
3-2 is in the dirt. They appeal. He did not go. So Wong picks up the walk. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game by Hamill. And it'll bring in Tyler Lyons. Kick off your summer with a drink that kicks your taste buds. The bold and refreshing frozen strawberry lemonade. It's back and it's only available at McDonald's. So runners at first and second for Tyler Lyons.
See that look right there? First pitch curveball. It's 8-0 game. He thought he was going to get himself a fastball.
And he gets another breaking ball. And a strikeout of Tyler Lyons. We have played 5. And Chicago leads it 8-0. Of elimination. It's game number 6 tomorrow. Post-game show, Missouri Lottery Blues Live coming up after game number 6. Good luck to the Blues. Keep it going. Changes for the Cardinals. Fryer takes over behind the plate. Tejada at third base. Hazelbaker in left. And a pitch taken low. Rizzo has singled to left, also grounded out. One of the top plays defensively of the year for the Cardinals, a double play and a catch over the shoulder for Aledmys Diaz. They doubled up the runner Chris Bryant. Tremendous play. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Just a couple of years ago, Rizzo was an out when he faced left-handed pitching, hitting well below the 200 mark. But boys, he made adjustments, and now he is a tough out no matter who is on the mound. The 2-1 pitch. Check swing and did not go, so it's a walk.
Key to that usually is just learning how to be patient. And you saw right there, even against a lefty, where he took borderline pitches, learn how to take pitches instead of swinging at them. And normally when a lefty comes in to face a big lefty like that, he's not going to throw the ball down the middle. So if you're patient, pretty good chance you're going to get some walks and get some better pitches to hit.
Here's Ben Zobrist, switch hitter. Really gives this lineup so much flexibility to play all over the diamond, and I mean everywhere. Any position you put him at. Plus defender, hits well from both sides of the plate, up and down the lineup. Congratulations, by the way, to Mike Matheny and his son Jake. Catcher at Westminster, was named the Gatorade Missouri High School Player of the Year. He signed to play up at Indiana.
How you doing as a parent when you have more than one kid Player of the Year in the state of Missouri?
Pretty athletic family. Daughter that plays ice hockey for Ohio State. You probably remember those kids just running around the clubhouse taking BP every once in a while.
They didn't take BP a whole lot, but they did some damage out there in center field during batting practice with me from time to time. Yeah. Poor Mike would have to go into his meetings and he said, hey, can you please keep an eye on these kids so they don't get killed. It was great. It's been so much fun over the years watching these kids grow up.
Talked about it last night. It's unbelievable that these kids now are, you know, the kids that are high school, some in college. We saw Albert Pujols the other day telling us that AJ is a terrific high school golfer. Not much into baseball anymore. Matheny's kids.
You think Tate's in the minor leagues?
There's a double play ball. Long steps on the bag, and there's two.
JT Mabry was the baby, and he's down there hitting in the cage and driving himself to the ballpark now.
Soler with a 2-run homer and a bases loaded walk, 3 RBIs. On base in his 3 plate appearances tonight. 2 outs, nobody on. Pulls it to Carpenter, diving stop, or rather Tejada, and that throw is wide of Adams.
The hustle down there by Fryer in an 8-0 game. I wonder why some of these guys get to stay in the big leagues when they're backup players. That's one of the reasons why. 8-0, and he's digging out that ball all the way down there by the tarp, which is way beyond first base.
We get to the ballpark early. You walk in the clubhouse. He's one of the first guys here, always working out, keeps himself in great condition. The pitch is popped up and out of play by Addison Russell. It's the Cardinals' second error tonight.
See just the difference right there. Offensive team with 11 hits and 8 runs. Tyler Lyons making some good pitches right there in on the hands. Difference between balls rocketing in the gap and just some foul ball strikes. Just a little bit, just a little edge. Ball in or out. Staying out of the middle of the zone. In that area that was nice and red on the chart that day.
Yeah, what we showed for people that didn't see it, it was in the red. That's not where you wanted to be if you were a pitcher. Those are the balls that were the hot zone for a hitter. 1-2 the count.
Kind of like the hail zone on a stormy day here in St. Louis.
We may have a long day tomorrow. Apparently there is a lot of rain coming in. Thought we may have it tonight. That's not the case.
Turned out to be a beautiful day today.
Sure did.
Expected rain. Stayed south. Hope those people in southern Illinois are okay, because it was the hot zone was coming down there tonight.
2-2 pitch. Out in front of the plate. Fryer pounces on it. Throws. Nice play.
Nice play, Eric Fryer.
Midway through 6. And the Cubs on top. Most pinch hit home runs. Cardinals with 9. The club record is 10. Washington with 6. We'll see the Nationals beginning Thursday. Pittsburgh with 3. 4 teams are tied under Pittsburgh. There's Eric Fryer, who's hitting .500 this year, 8 for 19. Cardinals cannot come back. They would be 7 games out and facing Arrieta tomorrow. The 2-2 pitch. Any way you want to look at it, this is a very good Cubs team. And you wouldn't think they would have prolonged losing skids because their starting pitching has been some of the best in baseball.
You keep running those guys out there the way he's been running them out there, and they've been doing what they've been doing. And their offense isn't too shabby either.
Fryer just keeps on hitting. If you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Cardinals wherever you go. Here's Diaz. It's now 9 hits for Fryer. 13 at bats at home. Double play ball. Russell. That kid can pick it. Next time you want to grab seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love, whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. Here's Jeremy Hazelbaker. Second double play turn by the Cubs tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good chance to get him in the game here against a day that he's normally not going to play. See a guy you might have to see in the future. Going to see this team a few more times this year.
Lines it to short.
More bats, the better.
We enter the 7th. 8-0 Chicago. Now it's time for cricket's something to smile about. Look at this play by Ledmus Diaz.
This is as good as a play you're going to see from a shortstop. He ran a long way and ran that ball down. Basically, balls straight over the top of his head.
strike at the knees to David Ross. 8-0 Cubs. Picked up 6 runs in the first and 2 in inning number 5.
Most bizarre sunlight right now. Sun underneath the clouds is kind of reflecting down.
Get the lights on here at the ballpark.
Almost looks like a day game right now.
Very bright on the field. Ah, yes, those cool summer nights here in St. Louis.
Not going to be cool for long.
Jim Edmonds enjoys long walks on the beach.
And strikeouts galore.
It's 8-0. June 5th features great giveaways for both adults and kids. That day, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive a Cardinals pool tote courtesy of Apple Vacations. Also, kids 15 and younger enter with a ticket receive a beach towel featuring Fredbird. It's all part of the Ritz kickoff to summer weekend. Lions gave up that home run to Soler, but outside of that, he's done a nice job. Real concern for Mike Matheny is the fact the starters have not been going deep into ball games here the last 10 to 14 days. So been seeing a lot of Lyons and Bowman, Kekeffer, trying to get innings out of those guys and save your bullpen.
I tell you, Tyler Lyons has been doing a great job coming out here and eating up those innings. Yeah, the goal is obviously to get your starters through a certain point and use your bullpen to the best of their ability and what they're out there for, and like clockwork. But as we know, that doesn't happen very often, or as much as it should.
It really does begin and end with your starting pitching. Your starting pitching is a good staff, really overcomes a lack of offense or at times a lack of defense. There's a strikeout of Hamill. There's 2 outs.
And that's part of the game that probably, well, I wouldn't say the offense obviously is a worry, but it's part of the game when, as a manager, you just can't really do much. You know, it's, you got the best guys you got. They can go out there and they're very capable of putting up zeros. And when you have a guy like Michael Wacha who's struggling a little bit, you scratch your head and you try to do anything you can to help him get back on track. And Adam Wainwright at the beginning of the year, you do everything you can. You look at video and you're constantly looking and looking and looking. And Derek Lilliquist is probably taking video home at night and watching in the morning. I mean, that's your job as a coach, and you love these players like they're your own, and you just want them to succeed. So when something's going wrong, those guys have a lot of work for them, and it's endless hours.
Probably some sleepless nights coming up for Michael Wacha, trying to figure out what's going on. This time last year, dominating the National League. Working very quickly now, steps away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2 to Fowler.
Now Tyler Lyons is working his way up in pitch count. You got to be careful there. You don't want to keep pushing and pushing with him.
Pitch number 64 is fouled back.
He's going to work his way into being starter ready. 85 pitches. I mean, was it 30 and then you worked your way to 40 or 50 and now he's got 64.
It's not surprising over the years to see a guy that maybe misses a start and then it allows him to collect himself as Lyons gets the strikeout, and it's time to stretch. 8-0 Chicago. Lewis. Not a beautiful game though for the Cardinals. Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals did a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. There's Stephen Piscotty. On this homestand, the deepest a starter has gotten was Saturday, 7 innings. Sunday, 2 1/3 by Garcia. Wainwright, 6 innings last night. Waka 4 tonight. That puts a big burden on your bullpen.
Yeah, and it's a stretch you're going to go through at times, and you got to deal with it. You got to figure out a way to keep running guys out there, out of the bullpen that can suck up some innings, and obviously keep your closer and the guys in those late innings fresh and not overused. And it's an endless job for the manager and the pitching coach. I mean, it really is a fine line of getting guys work, getting guys too much work. See that card he's writing in right there? The cards and graphs and stat sheets and everything. Every time somebody goes out there, their name's on a piece of paper and how many pitches and what day. And
speaking of that, here's a look at Joe Maddon's lineup card of the Cardinals. Some of the pertinent information that he takes a look at. What is matrix? Do you know what that is?
No, I do not. Maybe we'll have to ask him tomorrow.
You see the strikeout percentage, ground ball percentage, then matrix. Here's Matt Adams. And a strike. Matt Adams has forced himself into this lineup more. He's really swinging the bat well. Stretch by Rizzo, and he is there on the bag for the out. What do you think? Is Joe Madden going to be mad because we showed that?
I think the fact that we were looking over his shoulder might bother him a little bit. Someone probably going to run down there right now, keep an eye on him and tell him. But I think that is a harmless card that he's got right there. It's obvious that they're showing what the strikeout percentage is or what the ground ball percentage is, and there's no secrets to those. We'll never know what matrix means.
That's your job tomorrow.
Then I have to go in there and tell him we're looking over his shoulder.
He likes you.
I'm willing to bet, though, he will not mind, and that if he thought there was something on that card that he didn't want people to see, he wouldn't have it in his hand out there in plain daylight.
He grew up a Cardinals fan, and he told me that he has a letter signed by Harry Carey. He wrote Harry as a young boy, young fan. Hey boy. And it's the letterhead was Bush Bavarian. And so he still has that letter that Harry Carey wrote back to him. Used to listen to the games on KMOX. And now here he is as the manager of the Chicago Cubs and the reigning manager of the year in the National League.
He's a smart man, and he is his own man, which is, I think, probably the best thing about him is he doesn't buck the system, but he definitely is creative inside the system. And whatever you'll let him do, he'll push that envelope to keep the game from being boring, keep everybody happy, keep his team involved, give them a say, and make sure they play hard at the same time.
Here's a 1-2. Remember, Tony La Russa said the hardest part of his job over the years was dealing with the media because it started to explode. More games on TV, more of the internet outlets and writers and whatnot. And let's face it, I mean, Joe Madden is the darling of the media. He knows how to handle them.
Well, I think that Tony was, to his own fault, overly protective of his players. And that's a good thing if you're one of the players on the team, because he's taking the heat for you, where Joe is basically saying, "Ah, it's baseball, you know, let these kids play and have fun, and yeah, he didn't play well today, but so what, it's a long year." You know, Tony would take it personally and would not allow you to attack his players, even if they weren't being attacked. And he would sometimes get upset with the writers for reasons that maybe weren't enough to get upset about. But that's just the way he handled his business.
Here in game 2, it's all Joe Madden's Cubs. 8-0 as we head to the 8th. in right field. Chevy called to the pen is Dean Kekeffer. Hazelbaker is in left, Moss is in right, and Kekeffer is on the mound.
Now, if this guy has trouble throwing strikes, I'm starting to wonder if something's wrong with the mound.
Yeah. This guy's a strike thrower.
Yeah, he is.
That's inside to Jason Hayward. 2 balls and 1 strike. Hayward is over 3. See, there with Hayward, they've tried to get him to hold his hands a little higher, and sometimes what he'll do is drop those hands so they're high, then he drops them, then he tries to bring them back. We've talked about that a little bit with Colton Wong. But they raised those hands a little bit from his time in St. Louis.
That's what we were talking about with Colton Wong, is he was playing with his hands so much up and down, but yet he was right to where he needed to be when he started to make his move towards the ball. That will tell you that you really don't have to mess with your hands too much.
Flip to Kekeffer for the out.
You see Jason Hayward there in that replay that he really is up, down, and back up again, where you want to eliminate as much movement so you can get more directly to the ball. And some say, well, he's got to get some movement or get started, and that's one thing, is getting started, but another thing is having a little bit of a hitch and having to try to push your hands back to get them into place when they were already there to start with.
Now Bryant with 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Nobody on. 8-0 Cubs. Certainly you'd look at Kekeffer and you'd say, well, this guy, he's a lefty specialist. Not so. The Cardinals view him as someone that can get you innings. Lefties, righties, doesn't matter.
Go out there and throw strikes and make pitches, you can get anybody out, especially when you got a little bit of a funky windup, sneaky delivery.
There's your ground ball hit to short. Bryant gets down the line quickly, but out. Anthony Rizzo with 2 outs, nobody on. Fox Sports Midwest wants the Blues to win it all for the fans, and for every Blues playoff victory, a fan will win an autographed street pole banner. Just go to the Fox Sports Midwest Facebook page for more information.
Take a look at Anthony Rizzo's hands here when he's hitting. Reason why he's pretty consistent. Not a whole lot of movement in his hands. I would see at time maybe when he gets tired, he'd probably get a little bit more of a leg kick, maybe try to do a little bit more, but good hitters try to just keep it simple.
Did you ever go to a lighter bat towards the end of a season?
Yes. Definitely. Sometimes I thought it was too light, made me swing too hard.
Kekeffer, a 1-2-3 inning. That sent us to the bottom of the 8th. Cubs 8. To you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. One of the only positives tonight was having the chance to visit with David Eckstein in the booth. 6-0 after the first half inning of the game. Out to deep left. And Grichuk has an extra base hit.
See the left fielder going back on the ball right there. You just get to the point where you're thinking the wall's going to be there and the ball's coming at the same time. When you stick your hand out like that for a left fielder, you're afraid of the wall right then and there. So a little bit of not lack of concentration, but loss of concentration because the fear of the wall being so close makes that a tough play.
Grichuk to third. Hamill's pitch count is at 96.
That play doesn't look that tough from up here, but when you see the hand go out, that tells me right there he's thinking wall is really close. And when you think that wall is that close, your mind starts to wander and your eyes start to slowly shift to what's going to happen next. You can see as soon as he starts to stick out his hand, he thinks the wall is going to be right there and he's bracing himself. So take a little concentration off where the ball is.
You can tell by the jump too.
Makes that play a lot tougher than it looks.
It's not an easy play, as we all know. It's a hard to hit ball off of Grichuk's bat right at the left fielder. It's curling a little bit. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Colton Wong. Cardinals trying to get on the board. Popped up. Bryant calling for it. One away. Such a long season, but so far just past the quarterway point of the season. It's been a frustrating year at many levels for the Cardinals. I think defensively, now with what's happened with the rotation, a couple of times through hasn't pitched as well as we saw at the beginning of the year.
It's a crazy game. It goes in spurts.
Really does.
The defense struggled a little bit. It's been really good lately. Pitching has been really good and struggled a little bit lately.
That's out of play off the bat of Brandon Moss.
Just to keep it all together during the course of the season is a tough job for a manager and for a group of players, especially a group of young players. We always talk about that fine line being a veteran and when you say something, because if you're saying something and you're hot, people look at you like, well, that's easy for you to say. And then when you're struggling as a veteran, they look at you, think they're looking at you like, well, you're not doing it either. So there's always that very, very fine line of when to speak up and when not to.
0-2 the count on Moss.
You really just got to grind it out. I mean, right there, you pop up a ball, you really just got to dig deep and run hard. Show everyone that you're trying. Do whatever it takes, whether it be a pop-up, a ground ball, a gapper, play up the middle. You got to dive and leave your feet. Whatever it takes, you're still playing the game hard no matter what the score and no matter what the situation is over the course of a 10-game span. Tony used to talk about you need to run a little bit harder when you're losing 6-0 than when you're winning 6-0, because that's when people really make their mark and see what you're all about. Don't give away at bats in the 8th inning, an 8-0 game. Grind it out. Keep your focus as long as you can. Kind of just like you do up here. You're still calling the game.
Locked in, Jimmy.
You're still locked in.
Absolutely.
You got your notes in front of you. You're still keeping score. Your handwriting is impeccable.
Thank you. Means a lot.
I'm learning a lot up here.
What not to do.
Yeah, right.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Moss. Hamill, by the way, And I don't think he's going to get the complete game. He's now at 102. He's had only 2 complete games in his career. Once in 2009, the other was in 2012. That was pitching with Baltimore. Moss, fly ball into right center. The Cardinals will get on the board. Brandon on his way to second base. That scores Grichuk, and it's an 8-1 Chicago lead. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks.
Talking about battling, keep going. Gets himself a little bit of a, it's like almost like a slurve. Breaking ball and hammers it into the gap. Good replay of a good swing right there, keeping his weight back and driving the ball. Why he's so good about driving the ball in the gap and hitting home runs. He's not a humongous guy. He's not big. He's not 6'4". Just keeps his weight back and drives the ball with using his hands and getting the barrel out.
Chevy called to the pen. Justin Grimm coming on when we come back. Kids 16 and older have the opportunity to take home a replica of the 2006 World Series trophy, and tickets are at cardinals.com/promotions. Once again, those $7 seats are available at cardinals.com/coffee for those 2 games against Houston. $7 seats, cardinals.com/coffee. Justin Grimm is into the ball game. We're at the bottom of the 8th, 1 out, runner at second base. And here is Eric Fryer, who singled up the middle. 1 for 1 tonight. Took over for Yadier Molina. Pretty good bullpen. Adam Warren is very tough on right-handers. Although he did give up the home run to Grichuk last night, they were hitting well below 100 against him. Pedro Strop, Justin Grimm, Trevor Cahill, Hector Rondon from the right side. Left side, it's Richard and Wood. This is a bullpen. The last 9 games for the Chicago Cubs, a 1.01 ERA, and opponents hitting 158 against their pen. Here's the 0-2. Seeing Joe Madden look down at his card, it makes me think about how managers think about the game. they're an inning ahead, maybe even two, with the various moves that could be made on the other side, how he would counter, taking into account his personnel, how they feel. It's fascinating. That's what is a part of this game that is so great.
Think about, we just watched him for what, 15 seconds, and he's looking at his card, and it's 8-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning, and still trying to just figure out what could happen. It looked like he was looking at his lineup, just making sure maybe he can get someone in there to get it in a bat, keep people fresh.
That's part of, you know, managing your bench, your non-everyday players, and keeping them sharp.
Even your regulars, taking them out of a game for an inning extra just gives you that sigh of relief.
Pryor with a fly ball into right field. Catch made by Hayward. Moss tags up to third. Brings in Diaz with 2 outs. Small sample size, but Diaz from the number 2 spot in the lineup is now 3 for 23.
Also, he's seen teams the second time around. They're making adjustments, and he's going to start making adjustments, and you can see their start.
That's the pitch right there you see.
A lot of breaking balls now, middle away.
Here's the 0-1. There's that pitch again.
They're going to come at you with everything they got. As soon as they figure you out a little bit, they're going to try to make an adjustment. And when you start hitting that, they're going to go to another pitch. And then if you start hitting that, they're going to start mixing up both sides of the plate. They keep it pretty simple until you show that you can hit. And then when you show you can hit a certain pitch, then they're going to just throw you something else for a while.
Takes it up the middle, and Grimm makes the play. How did he do that? Is that through his legs? If it is, he takes a hit and an RBI away. Grimm with one of the top defensive plays here in game 2 of this series. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Javier Baez will lead it off against Dean Kekeffer, his second inning of work. Francisco Rodriguez with career save number 400 tonight. Tigers beat the Phils 3-1 in interleague play. Kind of reinvented himself midway through his career. Used to be a really hard thrower, great breaking ball. Now he's got a changeup they don't mix in a little bit more often.
Yeah, he was all fastball, breaking ball for a while, and then when he developed that changeup, he took off.
Yeah,
that motion, you know,
it jumps at the
jumps
hitter.
at you, it's fast. That's a pretty cool feat.
It's a lot of high leverage innings as Baez is hit by the pitch.
I think I saw Hoffman's 400 and 600 save. Trevor Hoffman
against the Cardinals.
One was, I think 400 was against the Cardinals, and then 600 was in Milwaukee when I was there.
I think 600 may have been against the Cardinals. Now that was a changeup. After changeup, after changeup.
He had a good one.
There's Soler, who is homered tonight. Best closer you faced?
In the time that I was here, I thought Brad Lidge was pretty. For me, he was tough. I don't know what it was about him. He got me out. Billy Wagner was tough. Obviously, Mariano Rivera. We didn't face him that many times. Thank God.
Mariano Rivera, one of the toughest in the history of the game.
I didn't mind facing Trevor Hoffman because I could slow myself down to wait for that change. I didn't have a lot of success against him, so to speak, but I didn't mind that at bat against him. You're facing Billy Wagner throwing 99 from the left side, little short armor, short guy throwing hard.
1-2, hit out to center. Catch is made.
There's a lot of good closers out there. For a guy like me, you don't have to face very often. You know, that you might see him maybe once a series, maybe once every other series. So it really isn't that big of a deal. It's one at bat here and there.
I thought Lidge was pretty nasty. I thought Billy Wagner was nasty. We saw them so much with Houston.
Yep. And that's what I mean. Those are the guys that I remember.
I would think Rivera would be tough on a lefty because of the cutter. Just had the great movement getting in on a lefty and sawing him off.
His cutter was 93.
Exactly. That's another thing.
In his heyday. I mean, it was. And then as soon as everyone started figuring out that cutter, he would sneak in that little straight fastball or that two-seamer at 94, 95. Just enough to keep you honest.
Hoffman's save number 400 and 600 was against St. Louis. Number 500 against the Dodgers. Here's an 0-2 pitch with one out. Adams has to get back to the bag, and they just get him. Long had to wait as Adams thought about going after that ground ball.
How about this scenario right here? If you're the manager and this is one of your guys, and this is a bang play, is it worth a replay? Getting a hit for one of your players, if you know, or there it is. You got to.
It's for one of your guys, I think you got to do it.
If he believes he's
Sure.
safe, people are going to boo. But you don't understand the grind of this game and what one hit can do for you. One hit. I'm one RBI away from 1,200. I think that if you had a chance to go back and get one more hit in your career, you'd take it. So if your manager's going to fight for you, you got to take this chance.
You know why, too?
I thought he was pretty close to being safe.
He is safe.
And he is safe.
He's 3 for his last 27, too.
Well, for sure. This could turn. And you know what? Here's another thing. Your manager, knowing that he has your back, is huge. So I applaud Joe Madden for doing this for one of his players. I think Mike Matheny would do the same. Guys that have been around the game know how important those hits are. sure Mike's not going to be excited about it, but
he'll understand
He'll understand it for sure.
And again, 3 for his last 27.
I think Tony La Russa would be all over this.
Be interesting to hear Mike's comments after the game about Michael Wacha and where they stand and where they sit right now with Michael, what they're seeing. Unfortunately for Wong, he had to wait for Adams to get back to the bag to make that play and give Russell credit, hustling all the way out. They're in the bottom of the 7th in Pittsburgh, and the Pirates have a 10-1 lead over Arizona. That's the right call.
That's going to go miles and miles and miles for that young player.
I think he may have said like a tip of the cap or thank you. Yeah, he did.
There you go.
Woo!
What'd you say he was?
He's
3
now,
for what?
Yeah, 3 for 27.
You know what? I'm telling you another thing. Fan base here in St. Louis understands what's going on.
May not like it, but
I was
they'll
surprised
understand
that we didn't hear any boos. So you can tip your cap to that side and tip your cap to that side.
Federwich is one of 3 catchers that they have on their roster. Ross, who started tonight, Montero, who started last night, and this catcher. I wonder if more and more teams will go to having 3 catchers, because your backup is really backed into a corner, because a manager feels if I use him as a pinch hitter, what happens if my starter goes down?
Well, doesn't it all depend on how strong your team is?
Sure.
Or does it depend on, do you have a guy who can play third base, or he is a third baseman and can catch? That's it. That last spot on the roster is tough too. I remember talking to Mike in spring training, and he was talking about his bullpen, and he was saying how everyone was giving him praise for how good his bullpen's going to be already. And he was saying the toughest thing is, what do I do in a situation where I've got a blowout? Who do I use? I got a guy for the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, the lefty specialist. I need a guy, you know, I got to make that decision. I can't use all those guys in an 8-1 game. I can't use them if we're winning by 8 or losing by 8. So it's not always so easy for the managers.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat into shallow right center, and it drops for a hit. Baez read that perfectly as he scores the 9th run for the Cubs. No hesitation, he scores, and it's 9-1.
Pretty good read right there.
Yeah.
It was either an exceptional read or you thought there was 2 outs for a long inning. But it was a good read nonetheless.
Now it looks like a great lead. A read on that lead. So Kiefer gives up a run. Matt Caesar. That pitch taken high and outside. You know, right now you think about your next off day isn't for a while for the Cardinals. Lyons was near 70 pitches. Kiefer now is at 30. Bowman threw a ton over the weekend.
We have a day game tomorrow.
And a day game tomorrow, right?
A quick
Good point.
turnaround.
It's Carlos Martinez, Jake Arrieta tomorrow. Into left center field. 2 runs will score to make this an 11-1 Cubs lead. Caesar on his way to third, standing up. And Chicago is pouring it on here in game 2.
See, not a bad pitch on the black, but get out there and situation where you're going to pinch hit and you're swinging the bat, diving out over the plate, and everything you got, that one at bat you might get this week.
Infield in with the ball game at 11-1. There's Dexter Fowler. Play the infield in if they're back. That's an out.
I don't know if that's an out with with Dexter Fowler running though, but regardless, that run's going to score.
So here is Hayward. And Keycapper is going to be left out there to get the final 2 outs of this 9th inning.
Yikes.
We should have 2 outs. Changes the course of the inning with the play that Cardinals had to wait for Adams to get back to the bag. They appealed it, asked for replay. Then he had a ball that was hit off the end of the bat. So Keycapper has had a couple of balls hard hit against him this inning, but not a lot of luck. 3-0. "15 hits tonight for the Chicago Cubs, 4 for the Cardinals, and a 12-1 Chicago lead." Three and 2. Two outs. It brings in Chris Bryant. Two strikes. We get to the bottom of the 9th. Thankfully, 12-1 Chicago. Presented by the authority of the Cardinals, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Clayton Richard. Left-hander takes over. Third time this year the Cubs have scored 10 or more runs. April 7th and the 21st at Arizona, at Cincinnati, and here tonight against the Cardinals, and they have a lead of 12-1.
Why are you looking at me like that? You don't like me standing over your shoulder?
You can do anything you want, Jimmy. Infield hit, Hazelbaker. Do anything you want. I'm impressed you're still wearing shoes. It's one of the first things I learned about Jim Edmonds joining us here in the booth. Many times Jimmy has the shoes off after the open is done. That's an error. Not with your shoes, but on the second base.
Or both.
There's Jed Jerko. Base hit for Jerko. It brings in Adams.
His pinch hitting numbers just keep going up.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It really is.
Hard job to do. There's no doubt. We talk about it all the time. The Cardinals pinch hitters, 360 average. That's now on the rise. 9 home runs, 23 RBIs on the year. Adams hits it out of play. The club record for pinch hit home runs, we talked about it, was 10. That was the 1998 club. A crowd tonight of 44,588. 44,588. 0-2.
Kind of the last thing you need in a 12-1 game right there. Foul ball off the ankle bone.
Swinging the bat well.
Telling you what, it doesn't matter if it's the World Series or spring training. This doesn't feel good. Ever. I took one off the shin bone in LA one time in the playoffs, and it was so big by the end of the game that the doctor tried to put a needle in it to drain it.
The shin bone.
In the shin, it swelled up so bad between the calf muscle and the shin on the inside. The Dr. Paletta tried to put a needle in there to drain the fluid so the next day it wouldn't be so bad. And needless to say, after a while, there's not a whole lot of loose blood in there. It's a little firmed up by a couple hours down the line. Didn't feel good either.
Way to put a bow on this game, Jimmy.
Just letting you know how miserable taking a foul ball off the leg is.
You know, a guy that is doing some work on the pre- and post-game shows for the Cubs knows a thing or two about foul balls and how it can affect a career, and that's Todd Hollandsworth. Remember what he went through? Broken shins.
Yep.
He's a good player, former Rookie of the Year. Dodgers had that great run of Rookies of the Year. Slap the other way and foul.
He's hobbling. Like I said, not what you want in a 12-1 game. No players left on the bench. Nice day game bright and early in the morning tomorrow.
And a base hit into center field.
Makes it all worth it.
Well, if you're Mike Matheny, you get Adams out of this game and get a pitcher to run for him. He's hurting right now.
He asked him and he said thumbs up. He's all right. Be willing to bet might take him out of the game anyways.
So bases loaded, nobody out. 12-1 Cubs here in the bottom of the ninth.
Just as scary as running a pitcher out there in the middle of this game.
Sure.
Cold. Not paying attention. Nobody out, so you know he's going to have to run.
Tejada with a fly ball into right. Hayward gets himself in a position to throw. Fires it to third. Run does score. That's Hazelbaker to make it 12-2. Runners at first and second for Randal Grichuk, who doubled earlier. Ground ball up the middle, through the legs of Jerko, and he will score to make it 12-3. Justin Grimm fielded a ball earlier tonight through his legs, and Jerko let this one go through his legs into center field.
Little David Backus screen right there.
Yeah. If you're Jed Jerko, you're praying, please don't have a bad hop. So two-hit night for Randal Grichuk. Now Colton Wong. Right-hander starts to throw in the pen for Chicago. Trevor Cahill. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Wong. Richard off the mound. 2 outs. Clayton Richard trying to finish this one off, and it all started with Jason Hamill, our Budweiser player of the game. 7 1/3, 4 hits, gave up a run, walked 3, struck out 4, 103 pitches. And he will go to 2-0 against the Cardinals this year and improve to 6-1 this season overall. Cardinals down to their final out. Here's Brandon Moss. Picked up an RBI his first time up.
That's not so appreciated at this time of the night.
Nope. Here's a 1-0 pitch. When Yachty gets knocked down in those situations, I bet he put a percentage on it. 90% of the time he's swinging and swinging as hard as he can the next pitch.
That's the way you do it. You get locked in.
Ball scoots away, but everybody stays put. And Moss hit by the pitch. Bases loaded. Third plate appearance now for Eric Fryer. 1 for 2 on the night. Singled up the middle, also flied out to right. And Joe Maddon will go to his bullpen. He is signaled for the right-hander Trevor Cahill to come in this game. So we'll step aside. Cahill coming on with the bases loaded and our Chevy called to the pen. th appearance, ERA of 2.57, and he comes into the ball game with bases loaded, 2 outs, and Eric Fryer.
How about another homer? Just 3 little, just for fun.
Just something to get it going.
Can't say what I was thinking, but just for fun.
First pitch hit out of play. Certainly not what Joe Maddon wanted. This big lead and then going back to his bullpen again. He's got Jake Arrieta tomorrow. Arrieta 8-0, 1.29 ERA. Here's the 0-1. And a call, 3rd strike. The Cubs take game 2 by the final of 12-3. One of those nights that, Jimmy, nothing got going for the Cardinals, especially early on.
You said it. What else do you want me to say?
Post game is next. Stay with us. Scott Warman and Rick Horton will break this one down. 12-3 the final. Great work by Jimmy Ballgame.